Until death, or the end of our story.
There's nothing in the world more powerful than a good story.
House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 8, The Queen Who Ever Was. No spoilers for the future of House of the Dragon, but if I do, I'll warn you first. The tapestry was updated. Look at all these dragons, because of the sowing of the dragon seeds. This is a Tyroshi. Not this, but this. And this is a monkey. Tywin Lannister is in one of Lys, Myr, or Tyrosh talking to the leaders of the Triarchy.
Well met, Lord Tywin.
The admiral of the Triarchy is Shirako Lohar, who is probably being merged with a captain from the books called Rakalio Rindoon, who enjoyed fights in the mud pits and asked for a different character to impregnate his wives to conceive strong sons, just like Shirako Lohar in this episode. Aemond has goofed up Sharppoint, the seat of House Bar Emmon, one of Rhaenyra's supporters. Upset by Rhaenyra's new dragon riders, Aemond is taking his anger out on innocent people like a grown-up. Larys says that Rhaenyra now has 7 dragon riders.
When Rhaenyra descends on you, there's 7 dragons in you.
But later, Corlys says they only have 6.
You have 6 dragons under your banner.
I think Corlys is leaving out Daemon, who is a bit of a wild card at the moment, to say the least.
It isn't a question.
They have defiled our birthright!
Get away from her. Get a job.
Leave Brittany alone!
Fire and Blood says that Helaena was a broken woman after the death of Jaehaerys. She spent her days in darkness, weeping, and surely could not be counted as a threat. But in the show, Helaena has seen the future. Why bother burning people with Dreamfyre if she already knows how the war is going to end? Imagine having a humongous fire-breathing reptile the size of several houses and not using it to burn down innocent people.
It is hard, but it cannot be helped.
Helena's brother husband is looking pretty good, but feeling pretty bad. Larys has stashed away Harrenhal's gold in the Iron Bank, so they can vacation in Braavos for a while until Westeros is sick of Rhaenyra. The people will hail Aegon's return, risen from the ashes. Aegon calls himself the Realm's Delight, which is, famously, what everybody called his sister when she was younger.
Rhaenyra! The Realm's Delight!
Maybe Aegon remembers this, and was jealous of how much attention she was given, combined with his formative years being filled with nonsense about how she'll one day have to kill him.
I must take Aegon's head.
Oh.
Let me tell you about my boat.
I've given her a new name. The Queen Who Never Was.
I think Criston Cole is a well-written character. He's interesting, at least, which is more than I can say for others. Cole is deeply, deeply damaged, and it's why I love watching him ruin his own life. I mean, this scene is just fantastic. Gawain points a Glock at his neck for having sex with his sister, and Cole doesn't even flinch. Alicent is the reason Criston is still alive. She's the beacon he follows. He puts no stock into his Kingsguard vows because he sees no point. All men are corrupt, and true honor is a mist that melts in the morning. While they march toward their own annihilation, why should Criston cling to his honor now? As he said before, there is no absolution for what he's done. To die now will be a kind of relief. It's a haunting piece of dialogue, and even Gawain's gotta sit down after that one. He's also sort of LARPing as Jaime Lannister.
My bloody honor is beyond repair.
There's really nothing I love more than a doomed anti-villain resigned to his own fate. And at least Jaime had some hope for redemption, that he might one day be able to fill the White Book with all his great deeds. There is no redemption for Criston Cole, the reviled Kingmaker.
Kingmaker.
Who has made his own bed and now must lie in it. I guess they kind of forgot about the Mountain Clansmen, who would surely have found and killed Rhaena during her multiple-day journey to find Sheepstealer. But that's not a big deal. Ah yes, my favorite character, antlered human-shape clip-clopping, Grumbles. I think Daemon is seeing a green man here. I never thought I'd see the day that green men are adapted into HBO live canon. Ryan Condal, I've severely underestimated the size of your great writing talent, and that's my bad. If you've seen The Green Knight, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically, the Green Men are an order of magical beings with antlers and dark green skin who also ride elk. They live on the Isle of Faces, right across the street from Harrenhal, protecting the sacred island of Weirwood Heart Trees. In the books, Mira Reed tells a story that's probably about her father, Howland Reed, who visited the Isle of Faces as a young man, and directly afterwards went up to Harrenhal, where he met the Stark family at the tourney of Harrenhal. I have a theory that the Green Men awakened Howland's green sight and told him to go to Harrenhal and meet Ned Stark, because one day Ned will have need of him to protect Jon Snow, just like how Jojen Reed, another Green Seer, helps protect Bran. It's all connected, poetry rhymes, and this is awesome. Daemon's Weirwood vision is also cool as hell, but you know what channel you're watching. I'm gonna nitpick the hell out of this. But first, is that Bloodraven in my A Song of Ice and Fire adaptation? Bloodraven lives during the time of Dunk and Egg, about a century after all this, but he's actually still alive in Game of Thrones. This old guy in the tree. Did you know he's a Targaryen? These two guys sure didn't. In Game of Thrones, the three-eyed raven is an old man with 2 regular eyes and an unremarkable cheek. But in the books, he is Brynden Rivers, Bloodraven, bastard son of Aegon the Unworthy. And in House of the Dragon, I'm just a little confused. If they're retconning the three-eyed raven's appearance and confirming that Bloodraven is him, in show canon as well as in book canon, that's fine with me. But if you're gonna do it, Ryan, do it right. Bloodraven is albino, so his eye, singular, should be red, and his other eye should be missing since he lost it on the red grass field many decades before sitting in this tree. Also, the raven-shaped birthmark is supposed to be on the other cheek, but I can let that one slide. I'll be talking a lot more about Bloodraven in my next couple videos in my Targaryen King series, since he's probably deeply connected to the Targaryen prophecy.
May I have a word in private, Your Grace?
Daemon thinks they're speaking in private, but Bloodraven's always listening. Daemon also sees dead soldiers and dead dragons, because I guess the Dance of the Dragons is a necessary piece of the puzzle to wind up with Daenerys, who brought dragons back into the world. We see a flash of red and the comet, which Dany believes is the herald of her coming. And this is just disrespectful, man. Showing Daenerys like this prophesied hero, as if they didn't turn her insane in Season 8? Are we retconning and decanonizing Game of Thrones or what? Cause I'm down. Just give me the word, Ryan. We had to watch Daenerys go insane for essentially no reason, so that we could have 2 Mad Queens as the final villains, instead of the real threat of the others, who were ended in a single night by Arya Stark. They put Dany down like rabid Hitler dog who bites the non-whites, just so Jon, the true prince that was promised, could be a hero. Except it was Arya all along, wow. At least I have Helaena. She tells Daemon that he's just one part in all this, and we see her lips moving when we cut away to the Red Keep. So I think this is new Helaena lore. She's astral projecting herself, like Luke Skywalker, to speak in real-time, Weirwood time with Daemon. Helaena is a dragon dreamer, which I don't think is supposed to be connected to green seeing and Weirwood magic, unless you're Bloodraven. But I don't care. Rule of cool. This is awesome. What's not awesome is what this does for Daemon's character. This dream, and I guess the culmination of all Daemon's Harrenhal visions, have turned into a get-out-of-jail-free card, in a way. Instead of Daemon having to actually set aside his personal ambition because he decides he wants to support Rhaenyra, this vision does it for him. Now he knows Viserys was right about the dream, and Helaena, his daughter, knows the future as well, and so Rhaenyra must be the queen so that eventually the prince that was promised can be born of her line, and oh wait, we're back here again. Heck it, it's spoiler time. Skip here if you want to avoid them. Helaena can see the future, right? She tells Aemond he's gonna die in the God's Eye, which is so true. And she says whatever he does doesn't matter. He could kill her and it wouldn't change anything, which, sadly, is also so true. Helena's gonna kill herself, as if all the shots of her on balconies and near spikes and windows wasn't enough of a hint. And she was just astral projecting into Daemon's Weirwood vision, so it stands to reason Helaena knows Rhaenyra will be queen for a little bit, and that Jon and Daenerys will come from her and Daemon's line. So why are we doing all this Song of Ice and Fire nonsense when it leads to crap, and Helaena knows it leads to crap? Or maybe Helaena doesn't know it'll be Arya specifically who ends the threat. To give the absolute largest benefit of the largest doubt to Game of Thrones, you could argue that Dany's role in the prophecy was simply supplying the dragons, which did help buy them some time until Arya could stab Night Guy. And you could argue that Jon's role was gathering all the forces of men that he could so they can make their final stand. But for Jon and Dany to have no real impact on defeating the others and for the solution to be Bran warging some ravens while Arya does a sneak attack with this stupid dagger, why are we being reminded of this? Oh right, because it's cool, and it's just a TV show. In fact, I believe House of the Dragon is set in a different reality from Game of Thrones. There are 3 canons now: the books, Game of Thrones, and HOTD, which is trying to incorporate some magical aspects of the source material while also connecting to events in Game of Thrones. But even setting aside the Game of Thrones stuff, Helaena is implicitly confirming that she's Team Black by telling Daemon, you know what you must do. He must support Rhaenyra. I guess I don't know what to think about this. Maybe Helaena knows that Rhaenyra's line will continue House Targaryen, not her line. And that's part of the reason she isn't so grief-stricken about her own son dying. None of that matters anyway because Helaena knows the future. She knows Aegon will be king again on his wooden throne. I'm just not seeing how Helaena ends up killing herself. Nothing can really surprise her, and when something did kind of surprise her, like blood and cheese, it really hasn't made her depressed like in the books. I'm very curious about the future of Helaena. I think House of the Dragon is getting in its own way. Forget about the White Walkers and Dany and Jon. You've already goofed it up. Just let the Dance of the Dragons be its own thing. Let Rhaenyra and Alicent be ambitious, grasping women vying for control of the Iron Throne. Let Daemon be a brutal warlord for his niece wife because he wants to, not because a weirwood tree tells him it's the objectively correct decision. But thank you for Bloodraven, and thank you for Daenerys. But this makes me think how funny it is that Game of Thrones mostly abandoned A Song of Ice and Fire's magic, while House of the Dragon is sort of trying to include it, and making Helaena a dreamer, whereas Dany is literally a prominent dragon dreamer in A Song of Ice and Fire, and it shapes her whole arc into becoming the princess that was promised, or at least a part of the Azor Ahai prophecy, which I don't think is going to be fulfilled by a single chosen one anyway, but I digress. We're seeing a dragon dreamer in a weirwood vision about another dragon dreamer from the future whose dragon dreams are cut from the show. My nitpicking is over, and now I have a serious critique. This Alicent scene on Dragonstone is bananas. Bananas! I had a whole 5-minute rant on why this scene is awful, but I think most people agree with that already, so you don't need my full yap on the subject. But here are some of my thoughts you can pause and read if you want. Put simply, show Alicent is not a bad character because she's nothing like book Alicent, but the path of writing that has led her here to explicitly agreeing to let Rhaenyra kill her son, thus dooming her other, more favorite son Daeron in the process, who Alicent had a whole nice conversation about with Gwaine that's now wasted, and giving intel about Aemon's movements to Rhaenyra as well, is just inconsistent and mind-bogglingly dumb. She's willing to doom all her children for what? I did really like Rhaenyra in this episode, probably because she said really violent things about Aegon.
I must put an end to the opposition. I must take Aegon's head.
She knows she's got to kill her own brother, and finally, she won't hesitate to spill blood. A son for a son.
A son for a son.
Revenge for Lucerys, I guess, even though, Jaehaerys died already, but whatever. Tell my half-brother that I will have my throne, or I will have his head. I'm enjoying Violent Rhaenyra just as much as I thought I would 8 episodes ago, when I thought that's what we were getting. Listen, I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it really is, because I like using the Dragon Show, and the other, worse Dragon Show, and the Dragon books, as my main distraction from the fact I'm going to die one day. And with the way I currently eat, and the amount of time I currently spend in this chair, making hour-long essays about Daenerys, coming soon by the way, my death is somewhat imminent, so I'd rather think about Otto Hightower. Who has got him locked up? Who is gonna free my mans? I think I know the answer, but it's got spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, I'm pretty much done yapping. You can go. And please watch my other non-House of the Dragon videos, because some of them are better. For those of you still here, I thought we'd break the rules a little. I'm gonna say something positive. Now that Helaena explicitly tells Aemond he is going to die at the God's Eye, and she appeared in Daemon's vision that saw him drowning in water next to a dead dragon, it appears both Daemon and Aemond will each know their fate before their final showdown. While I do find it a little strange that Helena's all of a sudden become explicit instead of cryptic, I love the idea that Daemon and Aemond continue on with their fight regardless. Perhaps Aemond, with his hubris, will be defiant of his sister's prophecy and believe he has the power to change his own fate. And Daemon has lost his personal ambition, caring only now to put Rhaenyra on the throne. This is what can turn the battle above the God's Eye into a suicide mission for Daemon, giving him the upper hand and the victory. But we're not going to see that for years. Otto Hightower is probably being held prisoner by House Beesbury. A few episodes ago, Ironrod mentioned that House Beesbury has risen against the Hightowers.
Lord Ormond Hightower makes slow progress. His host is threatened on 2 fronts by armies allied with House Beesbury.
Because Criston Cole murdered their lineman. So I'm guessing the Beesburys intercepted Otto on his way south, and since Honeyholt is right by the Honeywine, and the Battle of the Honeywine will probably occur in the Season 3 premiere, we'll get the introduction of Tessarion and Daeron, who will win the battle and save his grandfather from captivity. And then Otto can just join Daeron's plot next season. I'm looking forward to that. Let me know if you are too. Also let me know in the comments what you liked or hated about this season. Thanks for watching.